Hi there, good morning and Merry Christmas to everybody seeing this video. I've been really naughty and lazy about doing videos lately, but I thought it was high time to kick my butt again and do another one. So I want to start today's video, which is kind of for me a bridge between the last year, Christmas, and the new year. And I will be talking about the future. But before any of this, and you don't even have to listen to it if you don't want to hear it, I want to start, and that's the most important thing, with sending some energy out there to everybody. From, I think, some very nice energy I have been creating and enhancing lately, doing a lot of healing, doing a lot of collective work, and just embodying more of I won't say more of light, because at this point we kind of are light in a way. You might have noticed already or not. So close your eyes or leave them open as you wish. And I will send you some energy that will be a bit different from last Christmas, which was very, very soft and very dissolving into that frequency of pure love. And this year we have a bit of an edge to that. For those of you who know that Venus is currently in a very long conjunction with Pluto, that's part of it, and retrograde. So there's other things coming up. There's still a very nice, loving light energy. Right, going on to the talk. I'd be very surprised if this Christmas you'd have managed to not have things come up. Things from your past, the distant past, your relationships. I mean, obviously with family and all that. And that's one of the parts of what is going on at the moment that I really wanted to talk about, which is about the frequency of war. No doubt you have heard, well, if you are sensitive and if you are watching this, you have heard many people say that we are currently in a state of war, and that always sounds kind of, I have a problem with that in as far as you will be split into, even hearing that, split into two camps within yourself. There's the one camp, which is your sensitivity and how you perceive things, that will very emphatically say, yes, Yes, I know, I'm feeling it. And there will be that bit that you grew up with and that you know has constituted most of your reality throughout your life, that will be going on, but it's not happening. There's no war. It's everything is like, okay, it's not as nice as it used to be. And yeah, that's something that is kind of a problem, because as you see, I'm not even going to call them polarities, because we're kind of getting past that. Very definitely, I will call them extremes. And because of this war energy that is around, because you're not wrong, you're absolutely perceiving it right, correctly, you get into the flight and or fight thingy, and well, most of us are not not in a position at present. I laugh about this because from higher conscious, we're not in a position to even, get to do the flight bit where we just run away and everything is okay. No, that is not happening. We're actually forced by consciousness to stay in that place that is very uncomfortable, and where we have to catch up with what is going on within us, instead of just leaving it behind or repressing it or whatever we used to do. Not really working at present, at least not for people who are sensitive or the least bit conscious. So where we are then is mostly in a place of defensiveness, as you will have noticed, not only within yourself. I mean, we usually notice these things in other people first, in a place where we try to protect ourselves with our egos. And these are really important here, okay? With our egos from what might happen, what would have happened, what other people might say, what other people might think, by devising stories. And I've been talking about stories a lot, so you will know where I'm kind of going with this. So if you have this happening for yourself, because you can't really do that much about this with other people, you really can't. If you're doing it for yourself, if you're sitting there and you really want to be, maybe while you're meditating, because like actually meditation time is always also time to listen to these parts within you that are like all the time, and actually listen to what they are telling themselves, because when you're not in that quiet place, you are simply not hearing them. It's not like they're not there and they're not doing it. It's just that you're cooking dinner for 20 people, or you're working or whatnot, and you're not listening to these voices. So either before, after your meditation time, whatever, whenever you have a quiet moment, it's a good moment to also listen to these voices that are creating stories, hoping that these stories about how things are and how they will go and how they, will keep you safe. So whenever you're doing that, it's very helpful to come into that observer self and say, okay, that is a story you are creating because you think doing so will make me safe or give me some sort of safety in some way. I kind of feel I ought to be giving you an example for that. I think this is mostly about your interaction with people, actually. At least that's what happens to me. Like I'm thinking about people, and I suspect that they will be unhappy with my point of view, or with where I am, or with my feelings or my thoughts. I mean, this is always about you feeling that you cannot take the whole of your inner reality into the world without getting attacked. So, you start these inner dialogues, like you imagining talking to people and saying this and that. And yeah, well, that can be very positive stuff. The problem is just it's in your head, okay? You're not actually doing it. You didn't tell them how you felt. And that is even another problem on a level where you have all the low consciousness parts of you, and I would use this very loosely, as well as the inner children parts of you that do not understand the difference at all. Like, they can't tell if they're just existing, particularly if they're split off in any way. They cannot tell that you didn't really go there and talk to these people. So to a large extent, then what will happen is you will have a certain reaction with parts of you that think that they really believe you did that. So one of, well, but I'm really digressing. I wanted to just say that try to be aware of the stories that parts of you, and particularly your ego, because the ego is the kind of the thing of the moment. Because I mean, we brought ourselves collectively, we decided on all this shit happening so we would actually face these parts, and ego is a big part of that. You don't want to ignore it or repress it. You want to say, okay, what's going on here? So try to watch that. Also, I had a fairly long and interesting dream about the future, and that was, again, as I always have, I get dreams that are kind of about my life, but also very collective, because I'm a collective being in the broadest sense. And I realized there's so much out there as well. People talking about reality, what reality is, and that is also what this war is all about. You know, there's kind of a contest about who gets to say what reality is. And we're not sure yet who's winning. So concerning reality, like on a personal level, but that personal level is always only a mirror and the baseline for a collective level anyway, so it doesn't matter. I would advise anybody concerning the definitely your future, the one you're wanting to create, the one you want to see, to lose contradictions. To really lose contradictions. I mean, how can you lose contradictions? I mean, obviously they're there. They're part of language. They're part of the conceptualized universe, you know, the human way at looking at things. But they trip us up a lot. And that's kind of like there's little traps within these things, with these ways of thinking. You all know about beliefs, you know about false beliefs, you know about dismantling false beliefs, but there's these systematic little lies, or really, I like to call them glitches. That's what I'm all about. I came here to tell people about glitches, because really, almost our entire reality here is not... You could say it's an illusion on a level. It is an illusion, but the problem, if you might call it so, it's not really a problem. It's something that wants to come up, is a glitch. I call it a glitch. I like that word, okay? So it's like knowing the truth, seeing the truth, or there is a truth in it, but there's also that thingy that churns you or makes you want to grind your teeth, if you're really listening in, okay? And when I say lose contradictions, what I mean is that, for instance, when you are thinking big, which many people are advising at the moment, thinking big and thinking out of the box and really trying to create something new and wonderful and beautiful for yourself and others, that is not a contradiction to being in reality. It's not. It can be, but it is not. Just as being in reality does not equal being in or staying in or supporting the old system. And I'm using the old system very generally, in this instant at least, for standing for what you do not really want. Or partially you might want it, and other parts you might not want. But see, it's It is not at all. It's kind of, we're kind of, part of you is equating the old system with reality. These are the parts that you have not sufficiently worked through, so you can kind of take out, if you've worked through something, that basically means that you have a choice. You have a choice point where you say, okay, this is something, let's say you really like candles, like I do. This is something that I want to keep. I want my future reality to contain candles or whatever, and I don't want to just totally get rid of that. Maybe they should be made of something else, or you can get really creative with that. And that is the out of the box thinking. And well, it's kind of also the thinking big, but reality does not equal the old. And when I say that, you will think, of course it doesn't. But do you really? And I want you to sink into that. Do you really not equate reality with the old system in any part of you? Because any part of you that does equate reality with the old system will trip you up on the path along creating something truly new. So, other thing about reality. Reality, is a point in space and time. So I'm talking about 3D reality at the moment. A space in point and time. So from a universal perspective, it's an extreme, how shall I put it? It's very small, obviously. But it's also like an essence. It's an essence of something, okay? So reality is a point in space and time that still, at any point, contains all of what is currently present, all of it, including all your emotions, all your thoughts, all your desires, which means all that you want already in this moment for this world, or that you would rather have it be, because there's something that you don't like, and totally leave judgment out of that if you think that war is shite. Even if the universe thinks, oh, but that is so good for your expansion, you can still have that opinion. Obviously, why not? Okay? So, something you don't want, it is still absolutely already part of reality. And you can take that as far as you want, but you also have to admit that it's all there, like all of you, also the unconscious parts, the things you have not resolved. I mean, whatever. Also, of course, not only your emotions, thoughts, and feelings and desires, but also everybody else's emotions, thoughts, feelings, and desires, and repressed parts. When we then take a step back and actually get to the groundwork and ask ourselves, what can we do about reality? A problem we have particularly with people who are also sensitive and very visionary and are thinking out of the box and are thinking big and have all this amazing energy coming in at the moment, which makes them, their vibration go up, and they think, oh my God, what, we could have this and that, and we'd really be able to feed all the people on the planet, God knows what. So, we kind of shoot up like a rocket with that. And then we come down to the ground, and life and reality can then become something extremely unglamorous. But that is partially because we're not really seeing what is going on. See, the human being has one huge problem. A human being takes like ages to get used to something that is awful and that they didn't have before. On the other hand, it usually takes you like 5 minutes to get used to something nice, to the point of which where you do not even remember, have any recollection or critical consideration for the fact that 5 minutes ago, it was worse, okay? It's kind of, oh yeah, I've moved along, yay! And you're not even, we often jump over the and out of the gratitude point very quickly. So, sorry, that was Finn. And now I've lost my thread. Yeah, be with that. Please be with that for the new year now. I mean, you might have already done it for the solstice, which is also nice. Do a list of what you are grateful for concerning the last year. And there will, if you've done any work with the energies, there will be stuff. There will be like little miracles. There will be stuff shifting in your neighborhood. There will be stuff shifting in your professional life, like really positive outcomes out of what seems to have been a negative time. Really notice these. These are big and they're growing, and we totally need to capitalize on them. Take them by the neck and squeeze them for for what they're worth. Honestly, it's so important. Have these things with you. Also, perceive. See things. Understand them if you can, but without overtaxing yourself. Don't watch the news if they make you depressed. I don't watch the news. And I don't care what people say. I don't. So, yeah, I wanted to go back to two things. The wishing aspect, I almost forgot about that. But before that, I also want to say, I already said that in a way. I was talking about the fright and flight, and you also know that we have a lot of fear thrown at us. I mean, that really is like, don't watch the news and the media, because that's what they're transmitting at the moment. Like, ooh, not only them, it's coming from everywhere. It's coming at you, and you have to cope with it on a level. And that's very important, because nobody will profit from you feeling bad or very low. There's an amount of depression and such feelings going on, but I would say take courage and be aware that it's part of healing. As always, it's part of healing. It has to come up depending on how important, and that's really, really, really necessary for you to understand how important whatever is coming up, the more important it is for your current journey, for this life, and what you want to be doing with this life, the more unpleasant it will actually get. It's true, because if it's important for your present journey and what you want to be doing in this life, it is absolutely vital that you understand as much about it as you possibly can, okay? So if something is very, very unpleasant and you don't want, you have like this huge amount of resistance, try to have this little you inside saying, yay, we're going to get a big present. This is a huge step forward. Let's do it. Right. Okay. No, I will not go into the fear bit further. I think I just want to say something about wishes, and that relates back to what I said about the things that you notice that already have come true. And because of the high vibrational energies we're getting in, and depending on how and where they are able to lock onto you, because you have these little receivers and they actually pull them in, or they don't pull them in. They might pull them in partially and then they're stuck somewhere here, and then you're having a big headache. You probably know what I'm talking about. But let's say some of them you will have pulled in. Try to notice what they have done in your life. Sometimes they do strange things. Sometimes they are very humorous. Like a couple of days before I give you an example. A couple of days before my birthday, I actually had one of the trains along the roof broke, and since then there has been a gush of water just coming down because we had a lot of rain, then we had some snow and more rain. It's just like dripping onto the little roof we have over of our entrance area. It's just really annoying because, I mean, if it's loads of water, it's okay, but if it's dripping, I can't sleep at all. And then when I was actually doing my gratitude thing for this last year, I realized that I've been in my visualizations of where I want to be in the future and how I want to live. You know, I've always had this thing about living close to water, particularly moving water, like either the sound of the waves or a river rushing. And lately I've had this waterfall in my head whenever I was visualizing positively into the future. And then I thought, okay, I'm nowhere near anywhere at the moment, and I'm not going anywhere at the moment where there would be a waterfall. And now there's this broken train, and I have an actual little waterfall right outside my window. So if that is not manifesting, I don't know. But that's like, you may think it's ridiculous, but it's actually a perfect example of how many, many, many wishes work out, because we are basically a self-creating metaphor. That's what we are. That's what our reality is, a self-creating metaphor. And wishes are so important, people. They are so important. You know how you sometimes realize that a wish you had when you were small actually came true, only it came true in such a different way than you'd imagine it, that you didn't realize at the time. Sometimes it's something we, you know, it comes true that we don't, later on, we don't want to have at all. It's because we're very complicated. And the universe actually has a really hard time granting our wishes, and not even with, you know, that some people, they might wish for something and then not take any steps at all. Like, I have this waterfall in my head, but I'm not moving at the moment. So I'm not giving the universe any opportunity to get me closer to an actual waterfall. So I think that's something you really need to keep in mind always. How is everything trying to create just what I want? And I might not be realizing it. And as long as you have a lot of unconscious parts as well, that might be either resisting what you're wishing for, or they might have a different idea of what you're wishing for, or they might have different wishes altogether. These will also play into your reality. So try to come into your center and always work on that central self, because your central self, guys, is a conscious creation. And don't get that mixed up with the higher self, which is kind of beyond your consciousness, and you're not going there. You might incarnate your higher self and another higher self and another higher self, because they're kind of endless. But your central self is a conscious creation that always includes a choice point. It always includes a free choice. And the more conscious you get and aware, and the more parts you have integrated, the more things you have integrated, the more conscious choice like it will get. It's really, this part is kind of hard to describe, actually. It will get to the point where you'll sit there and you want to do the next step. And everybody's kind of, at the moment, still, unfortunately, in this attitude that they think that when things turn out well, it will mean that they will have a new reality served on a silver platter. That will not happen. Which does not mean, I mean, some people like Jacqueline Hobbs advise you to just concentrate on your vibration and not worry about what you manifest at all, because she says, okay, nature will find the most ideal scene that it can, and work with what is there. So it doesn't really make any sense to do any visualizations, which might actually be harmful, which is also a valid truth. You know, these are might be, as I said, lose the contradictions. It's all the truth. You can't do anything about that. But anyway, so you could see, look at it and say, don't do that at all. But there is still the bit where you actually act on it. And you have to come to a point where you act on stuff. Like me moving to a place that has waterfalls, okay? There always is a point where you, from your choices, you move into actions. And that is kind of the pill that is at the moment hard to swallow. Kind of past the bit with the red and the blue pills now. So, what do you do? Okay, but don't worry about that too much until spring. In the meantime, whatever's coming up, work with it in whatever way occurs to you. Like all of them, even if they're not what you'd usually do. Really, lose that as well, because I wanted to lose the contradictions. These things might seem to be in contradiction to what you think or what your opinions are. It really does not matter. So, it might be ever so out of the way. I did Solara's latest, yesterday I did Solara's latest guided meditation where you go back to Lemurian or Atlantean times to heal stuff. That might seem very out of the way to some people. Didn't to me, because I remember actually the downfall of Atlantis, so I had many reasons to go there and take a look around, because I have a lot of trauma along these lines. And by the way, it doesn't even matter whether that was a past life of mine or it wasn't, or I'm just in converging timelines, because it is important to where I am now at this moment, and it certainly seems so. Right, so, well, at some point in time, if anybody's interested, I might tell you about why Atlantis exploded. But not sure we're there yet. Again, have a lovely Christmas. That was all. I've been talking forever. I hope you have a lovely new year. I hope you can meet with some people. I hope you can have hope in your heart forever and ever and ever. And strength in your bones forever and ever. You are strong. You are entitled to your own opinions. You are entitled to be sovereign over your body, over your life, just like anything else on this planet. This planet is entitled to sovereignty. Any animal, any plant, everything is. And then we get scared again because we say, oh no, that's not where we are at all. It's awful. Yes, it's awful. That's why we wanted to become something else. So be strong, be loving, be understanding, be perceptive. Be the creators of this new earth. And remember, creating is something that always includes action. It includes doing stuff. So, love to you all. Blessed be everybody on this planet. Blessed be every atom of this planet. Blessed be the waters, the lands, the sky. Blessed be the stars.